Hi there, it's Laura from Laura Wamwell Photography, and joining me today is Xerxes Wania, owner with his wife of Dogtopia Kitchener. Hi Xerxes, I'm so excited to be chatting with you today.
Hi, Laura. Hope you're doing well.
So I would love to know, how did you get started with Dogtopia?
Sure. I've always loved dogs. Actually, I've loved animals, period. We used to have a parrot. But my Since we were all working, my parents, and we used to go to school and, all that kind of stuff, very busy life. We never had a dog. And the main reason was my dad wasn't too fond of leaving a dog behind by its own. And so we all agreed that that wasn't a good idea. But so we did hang around with a lot of dogs, friends, and so on. So I got my fill doing that. Sat a few dogs. I knew all the dogs' names in the neighborhood, and so on. And so fast forward, 40 years or so, I decided that. I've been an entrepreneur almost all my life. I was a tech executive for the last 25 years. And when we sold our last company, I decided I'm going to do something fun and follow my passion more than anything else. And dogs and woodworking sort of popped up in my head. And I said, okay, we're going to have some fun with dogs. I started fostering. I sort of helped some rescues. I did transport of dogs just to understand the sort of the lay of the land of where dogs are in society and all that kind of stuff, and understanding dogs even more. So I did a lot of YouTube videos, behaviorist training kind of stuff. And I found that a lot of dogs that we fostered came to us with which I found there weren't really anything wrong with them. And no, I didn't foster tens and hundreds of dogs, but I did a few. But I did see I did see a pattern, which basically was that they were just not understood properly, or the pet parents didn't have time for the dog, and they were just handed in. So at least with the rescues that I was working, that was pretty norm. And I realized, and since I had really wasn't doing much except for my woodworking and stuff, so I used to take in dogs and spend a few days, a few weeks with them. And I realized that really there was nothing wrong with the dogs. So something leash pulling, just minor stuff that most dogs with a few treats or praising them and stuff was just fine. And I realized that if there was a place where they could have a release of energy, and have a little bit of discipline and some friends. When I say discipline, I mean training and things like that, and some friends to play with, and dogs and humans who take care of them. Wouldn't that be sort of a nice thing? And when I did my research, I said, oh yeah, that's called a daycare. I didn't even know a dog daycare existed, right? And I said, yeah, of course, kindergarten and human daycare exists. Dog daycare is exactly the same. They have needs. They need some structure. They need some energy release. They need interaction. And so I did my research, and for almost a year on dog daycares, and I found that the Dogtopia model fit very, very nicely with what I had seen. I think what people need, what dogs need. I think that on that subject, I find that about 90% of dogs out there could do really well with the daycare model, the Dogtopia daycare model, and I'd say about 75% of the parents as well. So it's the dogs will adjust, the dogs will like it at some point, if not right away. The pet parents, it is a bit of an adjustment period, and of course, um, it has to be something that they can afford and all those kind of things, right? I mean, that's with anything else in life, yeah.
So,
But it's a long-term commitment, right? And daycare is a good way for them to, let's say, grow up, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, for folks who may not have heard of Dogtopia, what sort of services do you offer?
Sure. So it's mainly daycare. So the vast majority of our revenue comes from daycare, but we also do boarding, spa, and a little bit of training. So right now, from a training perspective, we do puppy preschool, and we'll be doing past puppy preschool soon as well. We just want to make sure that when the puppies come in, they understand that they just can't go wild kind of thing, and they need to have some structure, and we teach them some very basic commands as well: sit, stay, house, to go into the crate training. We touch them. We make sure that we do things that they're not shy of when they go to the vet or go to the groomer, because you'll see a lot of people say, oh, don't touch their paws, right? They don't like their nails clipped, or they don't like to be bathed. And if you start off very early, those issues don't show up. It actually is a much better way. So that sort of the training part. We do a little bit of behavioral training as well, but mostly we work with local trainers on the training side. We have the spa, which is sort of a natural extension. People want to drop off their dog, but at the same time, can you please groom them, or can you give them a bath or get their nail cut? So that we have a nice little spa there. And we have boarding, because a lot of our dogs are very familiar with our environment. They like being with our coaches that give them a lot of love and attention and care. And they get used to the suites. We have suites that we board dogs with. So those are the three components, and the main one is daycare. So we are open from 7:30 to 7 every day, and we love to see our dogs just have a good time, relax, listen to us, learn commands, and all that kind of stuff. So those are the four pieces that we offer.
So, I know there are a lot of folks who are just now heading back to work. And if they were interested in dog daycare, what's the first step? How does someone get started?
Sure. I mean, it's a fairly easy process. We're sort of a tech company at the same time, in the sense that you can access us via app or whatever. But what they can do is they can just give us a call or send us an email and let us know a little bit about their dogs, and we'll set up a free evaluation and meet and greet, because we want them to be comfortable. We want the dogs to be comfortable with us. So we have a free day. They can bring in the dog, make sure their vaccines are up to date. We check with the vets that everything is good there, and once they're in, we do an evaluation. It usually takes about 15 minutes. We make sure that they don't have any major issues, like they don't like the crate or being touched or whatever. And then once they're okay, we slowly introduce them to a couple of dogs, and if that goes okay, we introduce them to the pack and let them be dogs for the first couple of days, keeping an eye on them, making sure that they're comfortable. If they're not, we try to help them out a little bit, but eventually they do get comfortable. They start playing with other dogs. It all depends on their background and what they've been through in life, right? So we do have different programs that helps them. So that's sort of the process. We let our pet parents watch them on webcam, so they can watch them on their PC at home, or they can on their smartphones as well. And usually the day goes quite well. and dog's happy, tired, and the pet parents are happy and tired as well watching them. It is a big distraction for them in the first few days, but I think that's good. I think they should watch their dogs. It's a good feeling, right? To see your dogs happy and playing and so on.
So if someone is interested in daycare, is it something that your dog is doing every day, once a week? Does it vary dog to dog?
It really it really depends on your family situation and on the dog situation. So I'll give you an example. There are dogs that are paired, they've got siblings, and some are much older. And then you got a puppy in the house, and the puppy wants to play all the time with the new dog. And people think that having two dogs, oh, that's great. They'll give each other company. Yeah, that's true to a certain extent. But when you have a mismatch in temperament and mismatch in energy level, you can't leave them by themselves. It can be dangerous. Not that one wants to hurt the other one. It's just not a good environment. So they send the puppy. They get and the adult dog likes that because the puppy's gone and can have some me time, right? So it's something like that to people who have a very long schedule, daycare, long day at work, 5 days a week. They would send the dog 5 days a week, and they would spend anywhere from 7:30 to 7 at our place. So there's a big variety of dogs that come to us. Usually it's 3 days a week is a good sort of a number that most people prefer. So they have some recovery time in the middle to play with the family members, or they just relax the next day. But if they're puppies, they're actually pretty good, almost coming every day. We teach them how to relax. We teach them that there's playtime, and then there is me time. They self rest. As opposed to us putting them in crates, which a lot of daycares do, and so on. So they learn how to be good dogs.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what would you say is your absolute favorite thing to help people with inside of your business?
I'd say with the pet parents, we really love it when they give their dogs a chance. They do behave slightly differently at daycare than they do at home. Now, I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of dogs do. And they're surprised. They look at the webcam and they go, wow, how come he's playing so much with that little dog? Or he loves the other. I said, yeah, we've got a variety of dogs. We've got a variety of dogs with different temperaments, different sizes. It's not just your neighbor's dog, right? And what dogs do is they pair up. They realize that someone else is in that room with the same amount of energy. We call them the BFFF, so best furry friends forever, right? And it's amazing. They connect, they rest together, they play together, they hang out together. It doesn't need to be a pack, but when we have 20, 30 dogs, they can choose who they want to be BFFs with. And it's in a very good controlled, temperature controlled, controlled by coaches and so on. It's a very safe and controlled environment. It's not a dog park. You know all the other dogs. We know who gets along with whom. We know their BFFs. So it's a nice little environment for them. So it gives us a lot of joy when we see a dog that comes in who is really, let's say, timid or scared or haven't been socialized because of COVID or other reasons. And it takes a few days and they come out and they're dogs. They really are dogs after that. So it makes us feel really, really good. And I can say that for all our staff as well. So that's one thing that we really like watching.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
I think as pet parents, you know, giving your pet to anyone to be looked after can be scary, but there are so many perks. There's such an upside to helping them socialize, getting them used to other people, other dogs, and coming home to a happy, you know, tired out
Yeah,
dog.
yeah,
It,
absolutely. And we definitely provide that. There's, I mean, you can leave your dog with your friends. I mean, I've done that when they get used to it and stuff. But it is a lot of stress on that person as well, right? You're giving your dog, which you treat as your baby, and to have somebody take care of it, it is a big responsibility. So we just make sure we have the safest, cleanest, and most inviting, caring environment that you can have. It's not your home, so he's not going to chew anything that he's not supposed to. We've got very comfortable uh, flooring that is a nice thick padding kind of floor so they can jump around. We've got agility equipment. They can do their business, and we've got a potty platform and system in there. And it's nice and cool and nice and warm when it needs to be, right? So, and they just love it.
it,
They're not shy anymore. They're not timid. They just love being there.
it sounds like puppy paradise.
Exactly, it is. It is.
So I know this past year has been challenging for so many businesses. Are there any changes that you have had to make throughout COVID with your business?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, the way the Dogtopia system works has a lot of um, a lot of processes built in already. And you would say, oh, it's a dog daycare, and I can tell you that it took me a good year to learn even before we opened. So understanding not only the dog part of it, but how dogs behave with certain things. So what we had to do is to adjust that a little bit, and obviously we don't. So we didn't allow pet parents into our lobby, which we did. We spent a lot of money making sure we had all the information there, and then we had to close our doors. So we had to go outside and so on. But we have an app, so they can tell us when they're coming, and the app tells us if they're outside, and we can go out and just fetch the dog. So the app makes it very, very easy to do curbside pickup. So we were already there for curbside pickup of dogs even before the restaurants had that, right? So it was kind of a good thing, but we still had to adjust. We had to make sure that our employees had the right PPE equipment and things like that. Now, we opened right in the midst of COVID. So we opened July last year.
Oh,
So
wow.
we haven't seen, just in the last week, we've seen non-COVID environment, really. So now we're getting used to the non-COVID. Well, we still take a lot of precautions, but you know what I mean is we're letting three pet parents into the lobby. We're explaining them what we're doing, and we can show them our Dogtopia Foundation and what we do for the dogs, and we have a little window that they can look into the dog rooms as well and say hi, hello, and stuff like that. So it's a little bit different. But I wouldn't say we had to do major changes. I think the processes were in place to have a clean handoff, let's say, from the pet parent to the canine coaches and so on. Yeah.
Fantastic. So I know that the reason that you got interested in Dogtopia and dog daycare in the first place was a very special pet of your own.
Yes.
So I would love to hear a little bit about that.
Sure. So as I said, we fostered a few dogs, and we knew that one day would come and there would be a foster fail kind of thing. But even before we did foster, we met this senior boxer, and nobody was really interested in her, and she was hanging around for a while. And I took her for took her to a park, and I told the rescue, which I knew from past, and I said, you know what, I'll spend some time with her. And they said, of course, Xerxes, you can take, whichever dog, take them out for a walk. And I said, no, I think she's special. And she was a bit timid. She had a lot of health issues that comes with boxers, unfortunately. And we spent some time in the park. And I said, okay, let me talk to my wife, and I think we'll adopt her. And I opened the door to go home, and she just jumped in. And I said, okay, what do we do now? I don't want to yank her out. Uh, and it's against the rescue policies. You don't want to take the dog the first day you meet and all that kind of stuff. And I knew all about that, but we scratched our heads for a good hour. She wasn't coming out. I said, how about I take her for a ride? So I took her for a ride, came back. She's looking at me like, you're not going. You're not going without me. So anyways, long story short, she came home that day, and we signed the papers a couple of days later, and she was with us for. They told us she was a palliative case, and she was going to be with us for 6 months, but she was with us for 2.5 years. So
Oh,
she had a great. I think she had a great 2.5 years, but at the end of the day, her heart gives up, and it's tough. But what we learned a lot from her. And one of the things was you really need to understand the pet. Now, she didn't come to daycare as much because she had heart issues, and that was fine with us. And like I said, it's for 90% of the dogs. It's not for 100% of the dogs. And but what she taught us so many things about dogs, how much I truly believe that a little bit of TLC goes a long way. And so we said, you know what? We're going to open a daycare because I think we want to care for other dogs as well, just like we cared for you, kind of thing, right? But it's a bit different. Obviously, it's different. And so I did take her a few times to daycare just to meet the other dogs and so on. But she wasn't a good candidate for being there, 20, I'd say for 8 hours. It would be a bit too much. She's a boxer. She wants to play and all that. But she passed about 2.5 months ago, and we're now looking at other rescues as well. So yeah, she's really inspired us to do this for
well,
other dogs.
it sounds like she has been the start of something really beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I think I'll give her almost all the credit. She didn't dish out the money and the sweat and tears, but apart from that, we'll give her the credit for this for sure. And I think all the dogs are chatting about her now, and so that's great, right?
Well, fantastic. Well, Xerxes, I've really appreciated chatting with you today. Before we end off, how best can the pet parents here in Southwestern Ontario support you and support Dogtopia?
Um, yeah, I mean, support is good. Obviously, we love our pet parents. We love our dogs. I would just say give them a chance. All daycares are not made equal. We are a very different daycare, I think, I feel, as I did my research. Just give your dog a chance at daycare and see how it does. And it's not like it's going to click right away. It may take a few hours. It may take a few days. I've had pet parents who left their dogs for months actually before they decided, you know what, this is an awesome place. I'm going to start playing now. And I'm not joking about it. I'm not exaggerating as well. They stuck to it. Even I said, I don't know, maybe your dog's not for daycare. But they said, nope, he comes home tired, even though he's not playing with someone. He's just watching other dogs. He's watching. He sometimes or she gets involved with the canine coaches, wants to chase bubbles or whatever it is. But I truly believe sometimes it just clicks and they say, you know what, that looks like fun. And that takes them a few weeks or a few months, and then they're inseparable. They just connect with another dog or a few dogs and they just love it. So give them a chance. It's going to be worth it. Let them be dogs.
Excellent. That's the best advice ever, right? Just let them be
Yeah.
dogs.
Yeah.
Well, that's so fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing a bit of your time and so much of your expertise with me. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it too. And
Well,
love you guys all. I mean, all the pet parents and all the dogs out there. So love to see you all here. Thanks
this
again.
this has been such a pleasure, and yeah, pet parents, check out Dogtopia. It sounds incredible. This has been Laura from Laura Wamwell Photography. Joining me today was Xerxes Wania, owner of Dogtopia Kitchener, and we both hope that you and your pets have an awesome day. Bye.